That's the next compound I want to re-experiment with for grappling PED. Masteron. Yeah, I really want to give it a run.
It is very anabolic, though, just to keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to come down in weight, and so far I'm down about 7 since I started the VAR. Dude, my knees feel way better, which is another big thing. I get such bad tendonitis from always being on your knees or kind of in knee flexion doing jiu-jitsu. My knees feel way better. Positive for the libido, not negative. It's almost going to be a problem because my wife's about to give birth. I'm not going to be able to have sex
that works. That's great, though.
But dude, if you tried it, that's the one drug that I wish I would have used when I was powerlifting. I didn't use it back then.
Anavar.
Yeah.
Does make you silly strong.
Because back then, dude, if you didn't the mentality was if you didn't feel it, it wasn't working. Reality is if you're feeling it, it's like you're doing too much. Like type situation.
You feel it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to feel it like walking around.
If I don't feel like a deranged psychopath, is the drug working? Well, actually, yes, and you probably shouldn't feel
Isn't that the fucking sick mental fucking state of it?
Yeah, absolutely. But I wish I would. Pete Rubish later said, he's like, you know who Pete is, right?
I've heard the name.
He did. He went on Dave's podcast multiple times. He pulled like 900 at like 240 body weight. Just a mutant deadlifter. They used to call me Discount Pete Rubish because I was the same type of build as him, but just not as strong. I was like the big Walmart Pete Rubish in my training crew. And his training videos are nuts. It's like him deadlifting in his mother's basement, in front of a washer dryer, just slamming the weights, going into like a complete rage. And he basically said he swore off Tren because he realized it was making him crazy. He had the same responses to drugs that I did too. That's why I kind of followed him. And he's like, towards the end of my powerlifting career, I started taking Anavar, and he's like, it felt like 75% of Tren in terms of like the strength minus the psychosis.
All the crazy negatives, as in terms of the strength output, all that other positive of the physical. It isn't. I mean, listen, Tren.
It's a hardening agent.
Hardens you up.
Yeah, pound for pound, there's not many drugs that are going to give you more.
It definitely burns adipose tissue, 100%, changes your body composition.
Yeah.
The one thing is I could definitely say what happened to me when I was using it. I 100% got way stronger in just a matter of weeks, and the fat was falling off.
Yeah.
But again, I was doing a high dose, but I saw those same results at even 50 milligrams, which I should have just stayed at.
Yes.
My dick was starting to still get a little fucked up at 50, but I just wanted to see what it did. Now, out of curiosity, since I haven't done it in years, I would even just to see what 10 does.
I'm telling you, you'll feel it. Especially because we were saying, as you get older, you feel you're more sensitive to the drug. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm always paying attention. You and I are very similar. We both get bad anxiety from too much PEDs. And it's just not worth it, man, to feel that way. You got kids, you got a marriage, you have a business. There's like, if you were still living like cavemen and you don't interact with anybody, you don't really give a fuck. But like, you can't be at that 8 out of 10 all day long. So like, I'm very concerned about that too. There's a lot of stuff that I just wouldn't take, even if I like the physical results, because the psychological side effects are just way too much for me to handle. And I'm a very intense guy. So if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it.
You're feeling
it. Yeah, I'm not like, oh, I can quiet that. It's like I got problems.
That's why I like with the fast equipoise. I like drugs that like act fast, so I could control it. That's why I want to try.
Pull the ripcord.
Pull the ripcord, and like you feel it when you're supposed to feel it, and let's see if you like it or not or whatever. Then take it out when you want to. I'm very, very curious about taking the fast EQ. Again, I tried it, but not for a long duration of time. But once you said the word anxiety, I'm like, nope, I'm not taking it.
It's scared. That's what scares the shit out of me. Dude, I know guys that say that they get, that guy I was telling you about last time, runs the channel Anabolic Bodybuilding, pretty good bodybuilder for his age and training experience. He made a video talking about like, I can't take nandrolone anymore. He said it was giving him really bad anxiety. Like he felt like his body changed and he had to just stop using it.
Wow.
And I haven't taken nandrolone in 10 years, but I never got those problems. For me, it was a very smooth drug relative to like the other stuff that we were taking, which was really androgenic and really kind of a nervous system stimulant. But yeah, if it's going to make you anxious, because that doesn't leave you. It's like your brain is like static electricity all day long, and like you can't sleep. Every problem is a bigger problem than it should be. Your
brain fucking turns on you. I used nandrolone. I used Deca one time, and I did it for 12 weeks. Did it for a long time. It was real Deca. It did the complete opposite, meaning my sex drive went insane.
Yeah.
That's why like most people like, oh, they get Deca dick, progesterone elevation lowers their sex drive. For me, I'm like, I didn't experience that. It did the opposite. But even again, that so many guys experience that, I'm so hesitant to fucking ever take it again.
Yeah, it's scary, dude. Because
what if now I get that?
Yeah,
I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know?
So before we started recording, we were talking about blends and shit, like different, cut blends. I wanted to ask you, because it's funny, you and I have such a different, we both took PEDs. I came from powerlifting, came from bodybuilding. So a lot of compounds you used were just not in my rotation. What was like a staple for you guys back in the day for your crew?
So it was definitely always, even with powerlifting shorts, testosterone is your porterhouse. Yes. I always use the analogy, it's like going to a steakhouse, right? Testosterone is your steak, and you order all your side dishes, which would be Tren, EQ, Dianabol, Primabol, and whatever, right? For bodybuilding purposes back then, it wasn't even like what was accessible at the time. We just knew that we liked EQ as long acting, do it for a long duration of time. It was a good add-on to anything.
Okay.
Right? It was good mass builder back then. You wanted to get jacked. So we did Equipause, Sustanon, Enantate, not really Cypionate so much back then. It was usually, because back then it was Steris Pharmaceutical. You don't even remember that.
Oh, it's way before my time.
So man. I don't know if he used to fall off the truck or somebody fucking whoever it was, right? Yeah. But we used to get Pharmaceutical Steris suspension, Enantate, that was around, and then the Sustan used to be the Russian Sustanons or Karachis. Russians at first, and then turned into the Karachis, which were amazing. Was the Karachis, and then there was Omnidrins from Poland.
Yes,
Polfa,
that's famous.
Jelfa,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But what people think that's like the Sustanon, it's not Sustanon because the two last esters, it's something with it not hexa, but the two last esters that are supposed to be similar to cypionate and zacanoate are different.
Okay.
And it's definitely more water retentive, 100%.
I was just going to say that. My buddy, I got a real funny story about him that you'll appreciate, that I was taking those amps with back in the day. He would always be like, bro, that guy's taking Omnidrin. He looks like shit. Like, he would always talk about the water retention. It was funny, I guess because he was big into bodybuilding. I was big into powerlifting. My friend, he told me this story. This is so hilariously retarded, that he got a job one summer working at like a vet tech. And he said he was like working the overnights, like cleaning like some huge practice, whatever. And he said he walks into a room and opens up a cabinet, and there was just like 50 ml jars of Equipoise.
He's like, whoa.
And he was like, whoa, like looking for security cameras. Like, do I take this? And he was like, it was dosed. This is how stupid bodybuilders and powerlifters are that we do this. Think about the size of a fucking racehorse. What do you think the EQ was dosed at?
Dude, it was probably like 50 milligrams, right? I remember that. That's why it was Ganabol 50, and depending, remember, it had the weights per on there.
Yes.
And how to inject, and it was actually, there was separate different animals on there, but it was a low dose. I do remember that. Meanwhile, humans are shooting.
You're getting EQ, and it's like times. It's like 350 per milliliter, and they're giving a Clydesdale like 100 milligrams. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm going crazy. Well, yeah, because they're giving the 1,000-pound horse less drugs. Obviously, different animal might process it differently. But
that's
just
like a human being taking 25.
That's great. Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're from 300.
Yeah. You said that the jug started going missing, and then his boss was like, "Put it back."
No way.
He's like, "You do a good job. Okay, I'm not going to ruin your life. You're 20 years old, 21 years old." He's like, "Just put the shit back."
Even check this out. So where I used to go when I was a kid, everybody had their juice dealer, and the guy's mother was a doctor. Right?
Okay.
He was fucking jacked, bro. He almost looked like Craig Titus. Remember Craig Titus?
Yeah, of course.
He looked just like Craig Titus, bro. Dude, I remember before he even took drugs, he was fucking jacked. Just one of those weird freaks. He ran a mile in 4 minutes. We're in middle school.
Blessed.
As soon as he started weight training, he got fucking, bigger and harder when he started taking steroids, bro. Dude, he went up to like 240, ripped. He would eat, I remember I'd go over, he'd smoke weed, he'd melt fucking cheese on bagels. I swear to God. And he'd be eating like 3 bagels with cheese. I'm looking at him, sitting there, we're talking, he's high. I'm like, what are you eating right now? He's like, well, I'm doing this. And he was shredded, bro. Absolutely shredded. Anyway, the sick fucking lunatic, he told me a plethora of drugs he was taking. He would take, he's like, it's just a little bit, but it was a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
It was every compound you could think of. It was suspension, it was Enantate, it was Primabol and Winstrol. Yeah. And then what he used to do is his mother had patients on growth hormone, and he used to fucking empty the bottle, put water in it, and take it himself.
Get the fuck out of here.
Swear to God, bro. That's where I was going with that story. How crazy is that? I'm going, yeah, you lost.
Dude, his mom could lose her, like, everything.
Fucking don't think. We were like 19. We're fucking 19.
Like that's like a multi-tier like lawsuit. Like they're getting the FDA involved. Like, holy shit, dude.
So fucking nuts. So what we were talking about was like, okay, I always get sent this on the DMs, like, yo, have you seen this before? I'm like, I know it's coming. An on the ground label, printed up. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's on the ground. You got to know the source. If you trust it, just worry about the client. Same fucking story, repetitive. Recently, I got the blends. Cut blend, mass blend, 200 this, 100 this, whatever it may be, right? This is what it is. It's a cheap selling point for a juice head to buy something. Yes. That's all it is, okay? Also, what we were saying is this. How do you know what ratio, or what milligram, or what drug is there? Let's just take its trend, master on test propionate, right? Mm-hmm. You're feeling something, obviously, but is it the prop, is it the master on? Because each one has a distinct different reaction in the body and end effect, right?
Of course.
So how it should be done, you take Trenbolone separately. You take Masteron separately. You take this. And then when you have all the drugs, just say you buy all three. And like you said before, everybody has a different response for different dosage and different ratios of what you should implement the drugs into your body. Yeah. Not everybody's supposed to do 50 milligrams of this, 100 this, and then 100 of this. Yeah. What if you don't want this? 25 of this. That's why it should be done separately. And at the end of the day, what I really think it is, I think it's mostly prop.
100%.
With a smidge of trend to make it red. Yeah. And who knows if there's even Masteron in it.
Yeah.
That's the reality for the cup blend lovers out there.
Yeah, it's just so silly. Like, on top of that, like, people don't reach out to me nearly as much as they do to you, but I'll have people come up to me, hey, I'm thinking about jumping on, what should I take? And they'll hit me with like a myriad of compounds. And I'm like, dude, just take test. You have to know how you're going to respond to these things individually. You're going to drop 3 compounds on your body. You're going to get jacked, assuming you're eating, whatever. But like, it's like dropping a bomb on you. Like, you have no idea what's causing what. Like, you need to be able to like put things in and take them out and like understand like what the fuck you're doing here. Like, you take every food in your house and put it in a blender and drink it and you get sick. Like, what caused it? Well, I don't know, actually, because I just put 30 foods. I could be allergic to something. You have to know these things.
It's almost like when people start to implement, like if they have a bad allergy to food, they can't pinpoint what it is, like an elimination.
Yes.
But you should add it in
absolutely
the same manner. You don't know how your body responds to certain things.
Yes.
Again, it's a cheap selling point. Here's another cheap selling point. The 500 milligram, 600 milligram per milliliter testosterone or steroid.
Yeah.
One, it's going to hurt like a motherfucker.
This is true.
Definitively. If anybody out there remembers, the Dencal T400 was black and gold, the label, yellow top. Mm-hmm. This shit was strong because it was 400 milligrams. I think it was 188 sip, 187. I can't believe I remember this. 188 sip, 187 enanthate, and like 88, I think, of prop. Okay. I think I remember those numbers, right? It hurt. You were guaranteed 100% to get a welt, but you dealt with it. You fucking rolled it out as much as you can, no matter what. Yeah. All right? If anybody out there shooting a real 500 milligram, supposed to be per milliliter compound, and if you don't get a lump, now we got to be fucking questioning that. That's one. 2, what they don't know is to fucking, what crashing is. You know what crashing is?
You mean in terms of crashing from the esters?
So when the drug, the compound itself can't hold stable in the solution, it starts to turn into rock candy.
That makes perfect sense, yes.
So there's additives in it to inhibit it from crashing, which are not good for you.
Yeah.
For people who don't know that, all right? Compounds aren't supposed to crash. Now, if anybody knows in deep knowledge of pharmaceutical drugs, the highest dosage of any compound is 250 milligrams per milliliter, and that's testosterone and enanthate, usually from Europe, made by Bayer Schering. Even all the way down to 50 milligrams. Nothing is 500. Yeah. That is just another cheap juice head selling point.
Yes.
So if you ever see something that said that, there should be a big question mark that, maybe I shouldn't buy that one. But again, it's this, cost effective. But again, cost effective, that's some motherfucker with a laser printer just printing shit, and who knows if that's even really 250.
You're right. If it doesn't hurt, it's totally fake. Like it's so funny when I talk to you, I get like these things I haven't thought about in a very, very long time that were like once just a reality of my daily existence. And one is like, every Tuesday night we used to bench heavy. And, we're all getting warmed up. And once a month, there'd be someone who's like, I got to go light today. I'm like, why? It's like, I had a bad shot. My shoulder's fucked up. And universally, it was because they're taking some crazy high-dosed compound, okay? And dude, it's so cheap. It's the same price as the 250. It's like, dude, you can't get your arm over your fucking head.
Yeah. Dude, I used to fucking...
What are you talking about?
I used to purposely, when I was fucking sick, test propionate indefinitely irritates the injection site, 100%, right? So I would purposely, because I had my rear delts with lag a little bit, I would put a CC in each rear delt before I went on vacation so they would pop more. Even though they hurt and it was uncomfortable, and fucking who knows if kind of a septic abscess was in there, I would still do it because I'm like, yo, my shoulders look fucking better. That's how fucking bananas I used to be.
I might have told you this already, but to show that you're not the only person who's mentally ill, I had a guy, 500-pound raw bencher, okay? He was obsessed with his forearms. He was obsessed with his forearms. He could axle deadlift the same as his regular deadlift.
That's a bit crazy.
Just it's like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, just insane. Got into like, you know, arm wrestling and shit. And he would bench, and then he would do, like, no joke, like an hour of forearm work.
Forearm work?
Just everything, just curls, you know, whatever, both reverse curls, right? Just obsessed with his forearms, right? And one day we get there to train. This is, again, total maniac. So we would get to the gym, and I was coaching at this gym. So the regular clients would leave, and the first thing we do is we would pull out these bottles of Equiblock, which were racehorse liniment. So it was icy hot for racehorses, okay?
What's it called?
Equiblock, I think it was called. It was like black bottle, had a horse on the front of it. Yeah. And the Equiblock was like, it was icy hot for racehorses. All right. So we would lather ourselves up in the icy hot for racehorses because we were all fucked up and we were too lazy to do mobility, right? And then we're all kind of talking shit. Like literally, you're covering your pecs in this. And when the pores open, you're like getting a chemical burn. But you started sweating like real quick. So for us, it was and then funny part about the Equiblock, you would forget that it was on, go home and take a shower, because it would just kick back in again. And if you got it on your dick, you're fucked.
Fucked.
It was the worst. It all happened to all of us. And this maniac one day, he's like, hey, come outside, I got to show you something. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because if you can't tell me in this gym, I know that you're insane. I go out to his car, and he's got like 3 or 5 5cc syringes filled with black gunk tar. Like, because he was draining his own abscesses. He would pin his forearms.
That's how obsessed he was with his forearms.
Yeah, because he wanted, same concept. So he wanted his forearms to look even bigger. And when I first met him, he would always come in and he'd have like a Band-Aid on his forearm. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're getting bit by mosquitoes. It's December. Like, what do you mean? So he's like, hey, look at this, bro. And he pulls out the needles, and I'm like, what the fuck? What are you doing?
It was human fucking abscess.
He's like, yeah, you know, I pin my forearms every day. I microdose it. I want the swelling. It makes my forearms look bigger. Get a couple abscesses. I'm like, you're draining your own abscesses? And he's like, yeah, and I want to go to the doctor. I'm like, if you push through that and that shit gets in your blood, you're dead.
Yeah, it gets into your body.
You are fucked. That's your body. Your body is walling the bacteria off.
You're breaking the wall.
Yeah. He would do it in his car. He would get to the gym, bro. Alcohol swab, pull it out.
Did you ever try to do that?
Hell no.
I have.
Oh, you're crazy.
You want to hear this fucking?
You are so crazy.
I had an abscess so bad on my shoulder one time. I'm like, bro, I was debating on taking an X-Acto knife and cutting it. That's how bad. That's how much it hurt. And it was getting bigger. It was hot. It was almost pointy. Yeah. So I took a fucking, I think it was an 18 gauge or bigger even. And I tried to take the fucking thing, and I'm trying to find it, and I'm pulling back, and all that kept coming back was nothing. I was getting the suction back. I'm like, I fucking can't find the spot. So I went, fuck it. I stuck fucking 25 holes in my shoulder, and I started squeezing to fucking like a pimple. I don't know if it bled out, whatever, but some of it not really came out, but I was just getting blood. I'm like, I can't fucking find it. Speaking of sepsis, I'm lucky I didn't get fucking.
Yeah, but could you imagine you're pinning your forearms? Like, dude, there's blood vessels everywhere. You're out of your mind. Absolutely out of your mind.
That is fucking crazy. One, I've never heard of anybody doing that. Forearms.
Yeah.
But now thinking of what I did to my shoulder,
it's in the same ballpark.
I was so fucking frustrated because I couldn't find the spot. I'm going here, dude. I was going angles, and dude, I used to shoot my shoulders. I used to fucking angle the pin on certain areas to fucking target it. And like I used to hit in all different areas. I show guys, I'm like, oh yeah, they're like, I can't reach. I go, do this. Hit this all angle. Yeah. I used to have fucking rounded shoulders because I used to let the oil sit behind the muscle, but it was almost like a steroid synthol effect.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then I got an abscess, and I'm fucking like, yo, I couldn't fucking find it, bro. I'm like, ugh. But I've gotten them before. I got this the other day. Something got posted about shooting a quad. I tried my quad one time, and I was like, yo, fuck that. I ruined the whole shape of one leg from one shot.
Really?
Yeah, and dude, I used to have all these lines in my right leg to this day, bro. It destroyed it. That one shot fucked up my leg.
Hit a nerve or something?
I don't know. It actually went in, dude. The legs are real nervy anyway. Yeah. Mine are especially. Yeah. Maybe it's the skin so thin. I'm like, my fucking toes are curling. My balls and dick are sucked in my ass.
It's the worst.
I'm shooting my leg, right? And I'm like, I pulled it out, dude. I'm like, yo, fuck that. Even worse, did you ever try shooting your biceps?
No, I only ever really did glutes, shoulders, and I did quads.
Well, you were more powerlifting, so I have small arms.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me shoot my bicep.
It scares the shit out of me.
I tried it for about a week with not even Synthol. Did I try Synthol? No, it was juice. Dude, and I would cut I only had 1.5 inches. And I would cut the cap down to make like a little fucking, like a measurer. So it went down to like a little more than 1 inch. And I'm on the edge of the bathtub and I'm going into my arm. I'm sweating. My arm starts jumping. I'm like, yo, what am I doing? I'm like, yo, I'm already in, fuck it. After about a week, I'm like, yo, I aborted mission. Meanwhile, my friend, who syntholed the fuck out of his arms, but they looked actually pretty good. And I'm like, now you're starting to get a little crazy. I go, let's chill with that. Yeah. Dude, he had these special prints. I don't know where he got them from. They were definitely longer than 1.5 inches. Yeah. And he would just let me sink it into his arms. He's like, tricep, arm. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, honestly, dude, I'm getting anxiety just listening to this when you talk about this. This is freaking me out.
Like, I'm so not afraid of pins. Like, I do dry needling for muscles. And they had to thread my bicep one time to hold it because there was no other angle. They went through it. And I think it popped out because they went this way to fucking hit the thing. Like me with needles, I could put a needle through my hand, no problem. I know I could. If you told me right now to take like a 25 gauge and put it through my hand, I 100% could do it. Out the other end.
This is the most insane conversation I've had for a long time.
Is this good conversation? Is this good conversation, Zane?
Dude, you're fucking crazy, bro.
Are we legally allowed to put this out?
I don't know. So,
yeah. Back to the contents.
Proviron. So now this with Proviron, right? It's a DHT-derived compound, and I have never read too much deep statistical data on this. But I know that it is an outside source hormone. It doesn't kickstart your body, but this is in regards to testosterone replacement therapy. But there is some data where it shows it could actually increase, what's the word I'm looking for? Not spermogenesis, but like almost increase your fertility and start initiating sperm production, which on the opposite end of the spectrum, where introducing testosterone into your body
obviously crushes it.
Crushes it. Yeah. But I think since it's a DHT-derived compound, DHT-derived compound has such a stimulatory effect on your reproductive system, they can use this in certain aspects for fertility, right? So I can tell you, just to speak in like just to be very transparent, when I start taking Proviron, my loads go triple the size. Triple the volume. Yeah. Where when you take it and sex drive gets crazy and all that. I'm a very DHT dependent and responsive person. Yeah. That's why when I started taking finasteride for my hair years ago,
probably fall apart.
I start to feel my sex drive diminish, and usually I'm like a fucking gross animal, like a sweaty girl. I'm like, argh. I start to be like, ew. I'm like, yo, I remember that. I was like, yo, fuck that. I'd rather be bald. You know, and I would rather have all the, was also like, people don't realize when you start to introduce finasteride into your body, it's DHT is a natural anti-estrogen.
Of course.
And it's central nervous stimulation. So I go, do you want to be weaker and fat or hair?
Yeah.
You tell me.
Yeah.
Me, I'd rather be bald.
I agree.
You know?
I totally agree.
I'd rather have a dick like a fucking 300 Spartan and be fucking shredded. That's the way I look like at it, you know? And it makes you aggressive, it makes you stronger.
It's not, dude, putting yourself in a mental prison is just not worth it. At this point, like we said before, it's not worth it to be jacked, and it's certainly not worth it to have hair. It's easy for me to say because I have a full head of hair, but I get it. Like, to feel that shitty all the time, and what are you doing? Like, you're trying to look good to get women, and then you're not even like attracted to women at this point, or your libido is shot.
That, bro.
So, what doses have you used Proviron at, man?
So this is the weird thing from my own experience, right? Because you read and then you apply. Mm-hmm. When you start to go to like 100 milligrams of Proviron daily, I noticed it was better for the appearance and for cosmetic and the body composition other than sex drive. Mm-hmm. When I went to a lower dosage, like 40 milligrams, that's a sweet spot where I got some of the benefit physically and a lot of the benefit of sex drive, right? So that was the good balance. What people don't realize is this, that implementing something like Proviron also, right, has also, like what Anavar has, lowering of the sex hormone binding globulin.
Yes.
So essentially, if someone's on testosterone, they're like, I don't want to shoot more testosterone, all right? And elevate maybe potentially estrogen or whatever, you could implement low doses of Proviron to crush is a bad word, but to lower your SHBG. Yeah. Now on that, you see guys, what I've also noticed, not knowing too much of the statistical data on it, most guys that I see are on a high level of optimal dosage of testosterone replacement and start to tap into that super physiological, they all smash their sex hormone binding globulin. And I don't think it's due to the fact of genetics. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that goes along with the introduction of exogenous testosterone. All right. It definitely, because it's all on the lower end. You can't tell me there's that many people out there that have that low of a sex hormone binding globulin. It's just not.
Yeah.
I think the introduction of artificial outside source hormone lowers this SHBG and their free fucking goes up.
You know, that definitely correlates with the blood work that I've gotten over the course of my life. You know, I never have an issue with SHBG when I'm taking TRT, but when I'm trying to get my wife pregnant, I notice that the values change very, very quickly. Just like, and my T's a disaster anyway, so it's the whole thing is fucked. But that's interesting because you've seen a much bigger body of blood work than I have. Obviously, it's clients send you stuff they want to. I've only really seen mine and a few other people's. You go on forums back in the day, people will post it.
You gotta change your card. Yo, I hate doing these Zooms every week, bro.
Dude, every week you see this. It's like getting on you, man.
I don't know why. I think
The camera just needs like 5 minutes to cool down.
Okay.
It's warmer here today than usual.
is it? It's fucking 69 degrees.
It's usually colder.
Is it really?
Yeah, like 65.
No, it's not. I've had it 69 for months. Well,
It's always nice in here.
Well, I look
Yeah.
at the temperature right there that says 69 on my split, and it hasn't been 65 ever.
Dude, when I come in here, I've like taken like one of my little thermometer things here. It's like 65. It's good, which is good for content. That's not a bad thing at all. It's actually, the more colder it is, the better it is for the cameras.
They keep from overheating.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing, or that it was that easily to be a thing.
Oh, dude, if it's 70 in here, it would probably be like maybe an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Especially with these. The trade-off of these is that these are better.
It's weird because I don't know if it's just cold in here. It feels the same to me.
So I guess those 3 or 4 degrees make a big
Yeah, I
big
think
difference.
the 4 degrees that he's fucking imagining. Off subject, my son wants to make an under the stair fort. You know.
That's how you got to do it.
So I started yesterday. Going on the assumption there's a stud where there should be. I knocked on the wall. You know, I don't need a stud if I can feel it. You know what's there? A fucking big metal pipe. I didn't drill through the pipe. But fuck, I hit it with the thing. I had nothing to secure now the stud going this way.
Uh-huh.
Yo, I couldn't even take, you know what a wing nut is that opens up?
Yeah.
I didn't even have the space to put in there. I'm like, what the fuck do I do now? I'm like, you motherfucker. Because now I can't move the thing over. I can't catch a stud here. It would have been a disaster. I'm like, yo, this wall's destroyed anyway. So I took roll plugs. I measured it, put the tip down wire, and I put about 6 plugs in, and I put PL glue behind it. You know what PL glue is?
No.
PL glue is the best glue in the world. You could glue 2 cars together, and the doors will fall off. Do you think I'm kidding?
I believe you, dude.
It's the best glue. You glue anything with PL glue, whatever you glue together is destroyed if you ever wanted to get together because it'll never come apart.
All right. So it's like.
It's the best glue you could ever use.
Okay.
Tell them about your kid wanting to be a suicide bomber.
Oh, yeah. You've seen Mad Max Fury Road, right?
Yeah.
So it's my son and I's favorite movie. We watch it all the time.
Suicide bomber.
No, I bought all the fucking, the props and everything. I bought the makeup. I bought fucking silver cupcake spray for witness me, shiny cone.
Yeah.
Witness. We're gonna reenact the whole scene, and I made the fucking look. They're out there.
Is this a Halloween?
No, Zane's gonna film it. We're gonna put it on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring him and his friends. They're gonna be my little po' boys, and I myself will walk you through the gates of Valhalla. We reenact the scene. My daughter's gonna be Furiosa. I'm gonna put her in my Tahoe, and I'm gonna go, boss. Oh, we did the whole thing. We're heading east or west. I paid her makeup. She's just gonna go west. And I was thinking about
That's gonna crush, dude.
I was thinking about dressing up my wife like Immortan Joe because she has the hair. But the thing.
That's fucking hilarious.
And I was even thinking about doing this. I was going to put her in her car and put Cabbage Patch Kits in the back like her prized possessions of all little boys.
That would crush, actually.
I think that the more you commit, the better you are here.
Dude, I bought all the makeup, the outfit. I go in with it. I bought, what do you call it? Fucking the cargo pants, the boots. Paint this fucking all white. I do the makeup. I'm good with that shit, with the face makeup.
How did the calls go Wednesday? I thought we were talking about that.
I crushed it again.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
You didn't say anything, so I was like, you must have done well.
Two. I went two. Well, one was a no-show. One actually this is how you know he's serious. He set up an appointment to call back for this Friday.
Okay.
Right? Guy's foreigner. But like what I did different in the call was I felt like I started to sell a little too much. I was hitting process. Now I went, I don't give a fuck. I just talked to him. And I started doing takeovers. I go, listen, if you're thinking about it, I don't know what to think about it. I offered you something great. And I go, I want you to put this in perspective. I go, think about this. What do you spend every month on bullshit or every week going out to dinner? I go, think about that. I go, right?
Yeah.
He goes, you're right. I go, listen, if this is a debate, that means you're not ready to commit. Now, I don't want anybody who wants to ready to commit. That means you're going to cancel.
Yeah.
And then it's going to reflect on me negatively. So you know what? I don't need the fucking money. I go, if you're not going to fully commit, I don't even want it. Because I've had guys like that. If I knew they weren't going to do this, I would have said, go fuck off.
Yeah.
He fucking scheduled for them. That's the takeaway.
Yeah.
You can't shove it down your throat. So, I don't even want this. I don't need the fucking money.
It's like meeting women.
Yes.
It's the same concept. They smell the desperation in the air, and then you become repulsive to them.
Yeah. So I also, one call, I was on the phone for 45 minutes with the dude. I even fucking goes to the other call. We forgot what we were talking about. Through the process of talk, the guy was like, yo, he owned a fucking electrical smart fucking thing that did house guide money. He's friends with Tim Kennedy.
Okay.
He's friends with Guy Fieri.
Okay.
But you never know who you meet on the phone. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give him a little extra.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know?
That's
like I gave him to Jordan because
contact.
Jordan with the military shit and guns.
Yeah.
And good fit. Loves
There we
him. Are we cooled down yet?
Yep. We just,
Oh my God. Can you fucking do the Zoom for me this week?
It'd be really funny. Hi guys, I'm Vinny. I'm transracial. Hello,
Let's go through compound. What do you want to talk? Let's look at this one. We were talking about Proviron a little bit. What were we talking about Proviron?
We're talking about Proviron, yeah. I've only ever used it once, 50 milligrams.
Oh my God.
So one of the things that one of the clips you sent me that I actually did find a little bit thought-provoking was his reel on HGH, because, we both used our fair share of drugs. And, as we just discovered in this conversation, you are a maniac, which I respect. And you've kind of always said that you didn't feel like HGH was necessarily for you. Or like you've kind of said, like, I take TRT, but I don't know if I'd want to take HGH. And I just feel like, yeah.
It's not this. My body, it's not that if HGH is, are we good, Zane, by the way? It's not that if HGH is good for me or not. I fucking loved it.
Okay.
Because I did X amount of anabolics, and I'm decently responsive to androgens and anabolics, right? I wasn't the worst, but I was definitely not the best. I was right in the middle of the road, slightly better. When I started to put HGH into my body, I must have an abundance of IGF-1 receptors. Dude, my body exploded.
Really?
Dude, insane, right? 2 IUs to 4 IUs was like taking either 500 milligrams a test to 1,500 milligrams a test. The 2 IUs. So that's what people don't realize. My response. 6, I never even thought about taking, because when I dabbled with 2, I was like, yo, it's pretty good. Let me see what 4 does of real growth hormone. My body exploded and got ripped. That was the game changer for me, where I got huge, bro, huge on growth hormone and harder. What I didn't realize, and during the whole time, because I was such a fucking bodybuilder, right? It was fucking up my level, my ability to blow a load. My prolactin levels elevated.
Yes.
But I was so fucking, not that I didn't have a sex drive and couldn't fuck, but now when I just narrow it down to just testosterone only and every now and then a compound, my sex drive is the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
So the importance and value, what I value now at this point in my life, I don't give a fuck that much about that. I just don't.
Yeah.
Right? I did it already. I like the quality of my life more.
Yeah.
Do I have the thought of every dabbling with growth hormone again? I do. But dude, my body responds so crazy. So it must be so sensitive that if I've other guys that are like, yeah, I got carpentol, I take the same exact growth bow. Oh, I can't even fucking sleep
Really?
after 2 days. I'm like, yeah, the growth is real.
Yeah.
It's real. I can't take
I've never had that. I never felt like I responded that well to it.
Holy
yeah.
fuck, bro.
I noticed that my hair would look unbelievable. Like I would look like I got my hair done every fucking day. You know, I've looked like handsome or something, but like in terms of like actual physical result, in terms of like actual
skin, your hair, you glowed.
Yes. But I never felt like it gave me that much anabolically, you know? And then when you look at, I would notice whenever I would take it, and even with MK677, which I've used a little bit, I would notice that my blood sugar was getting high. And
I never experienced that.
And I was just like, you know what, what's the point? Like, again, I'm not getting paid money to do this. And obviously, high fasting blood sugar is like, it's poison, bro. It's so bad for you to have high blood sugar. It fucking kills your body.
Yeah, people don't realize
so
that.
It's just like, what am I doing here? There's just no point.
It didn't do that to me.
Yeah.
I always felt good. The only thing that was a little fucked up was the way I felt my ejaculatory response. But other than that, I got insane, dude. It burned body fat and fucking, I got all the benefits of it.
So you sound like the advertisement for GH, but someone was saying on an internet forum, like,
dude, but
eat ice cream to get shredded. Like you're literally taking it and you're just turning it into a fucking house.
That's what it did to me, right? Huh. And I was that guy who could eat and fucking get shredded and bigger. The older I got, the more educated I started to be, and reading on these things was started to freak me out, was the hyperplasia response of growth hormone, what it does.
Yes.
People out there, to educate people, when you're born with 1 billion muscle cells, let's use that as a number, you never get up to 2 billion, you stay 1 billion. They either swell or shrink, anabolism or catabolism. Mm-hmm. Hyperplasia is doubling of the fibers, which is scary. That's why it could exacerbate cancer. This is the scary thing. Yes. Any growth. And now it doesn't fucking just, differentiate, or it's where I say like choose what muscle. It goes to all organs and tissues. That's what the belly is for. Mm-hmm. It does everything but your dick, right?
Yeah.
Everything but like, think about it. That's why in even high doses, what's acromegaly? Giantism, heavy brow, the big bones. That's when growth hormone secretion just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Turn
to Andre the Giant.
Turn to Andre the Giant.
Or it's maybe John Cena. He's definitely got a little bit of acromegaly going on. No question.
You think he has a little bit of heavy brow?
Yeah. I mean, my buddy that used to treat his own abscesses, there's another great saying by him. He's like, you want a little bit of acromegaly. Not that much. There's a sweet spot of acromegaly. Like, just to the point where your hands are big, or you have the pronounced
That's a sick person.
That's a very sick person.
That's a sick person,
Maniac.
too.
I love him.
But he's on point with that. You want just a touch of acromegaly. You see it actually, I would say the word's prevalent somewhat in Brazil. When you see a lot of these guys, what I've noticed, like someone just fought on the card, when he was definitely had a touch of giantism. Uh-huh. That definitely maybe stopped, but like very heavy browed, his bone structure to his big head. Mm-hmm. Remember that one fighter, Bigfoot, what was his name?
Giant Silva.
He definitely
100%.
100%.
That's textbook.
That's textbook.
Yeah. He did not look like a human, dude.
No.
Imagine getting punched by that guy.
No.
Fuck out of here, dude. His fist will go through your face.
Big giant feet, big hands.
That's a giant
but his
man.
Facial features was a distinct, direct effect of what giantism is.
Yes.
To keep secreting growth hormone when you're not supposed to be secreting growth hormone anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The other thing about growth hormone that I kind of like would make me want to stay away from it. You're talking about literally everything but your dick growing. I don't want to pick on the guy here because I've been a fan of his podcast like all of us forever. But like you look at how much Joe Rogan's body has changed over the years. There's that picture of him from his 30s where he looks like a really fit, borderline jacked martial artist, like trim waist, good shoulders and everything. And he's been very open about his anti-aging protocol. And you've seen over the years, if you see him without a shirt on, like he has a massively distended stomach. And it's like...
So I had a distended stomach and bigger belly, like I said, before I ever touched growth. I didn't touch growth until I was probably like 30. Uh-huh. Okay. But in my early 20s, mid 20s, when I started to live very heavy and I overate consistently, and I was never that fat, my belly just was big from then.
But what's interesting is I feel like Dorian Yates has said this. I know we talk about Dorian a lot on here. The rumor back in the day when you were coming up was like, it's making your organs grow and that's why your stomach gets so much bigger. And Dorian was like, you could say that, but like I stopped using it and my stomach shrank back down to a normal size. So that can't be it, or at the very least, it can't be the only thing that's doing it.
Long Island bodybuilder Dave Palumbo, right? Very, very smart guy.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, I can't say this definitive, but he would experiment with compounds because he was so intelligent and knew science. He was almost a doctor. Mm-hmm. That he would experiment with compounds before anybody else people would know him. Like, so IGF-1, like that was almost like a unicorn thing back in like the early 2000s or in the 90s. And the ability to get it was non-existent. It had to come in a freezer thing and dry ice, whatever, right? But he would take up to, like, from what I've heard, and maybe it's true because 1 foot's bigger than it, like 1,000 micrograms a day, I heard, right? And what he has, right, his belly is so distended and he was so big. He probably, I can't say he's definitely, but maybe he pushed the envelope with milligrams of drugs.
Yeah.
And his belly distension is definitely a direct correlation to heavy, IGF-1 use, growth hormone use, and, the hyperplasia of organs.
Yeah.
That is definitive.
Yeah.
That isn't from the 405 squats I used to do.
I think he was a bigger envelope pusher than, say, someone like Dorian. I think, like when you're not going to be the best guy in the world, there's maybe more margin for error. Like if you screw your physique up, it's like whatever. He's almost in it because he's like an explorer. He's just doing a science experiment. Whereas like if you come in looking like shit, you lose the Olympia. You lose the fucking Olympia. I mean, that sucks, But that's interesting. IGF is definitely one compound that I don't know much about, especially in terms of like injecting yourself with it. Like I'm aware, we were talking about this last time, taking HGH, you have that conversion into IGF, and that's kind of where the anabolic factor in the compound comes from. But I don't know anything about injecting yourself with IGF-1. Not even a little bit.
So I can tell you this. So it goes by micrograms, 20 up to 100. And back in the day, everybody says, I have IGF-1, IGF-2, the short-acting one, whatever. Who knows if it's even real or not? I could definitely tell you this. This one, the same company that made the growth hormone, I had hydrotropins. Can't remember the name of the company. The brand was Hydrotropin, 25 vial, 8 IU vials. And then they had another box called Turbo Vital, which was IGF-1.
Okay.
100 microgram vials, 25 of them. My own friends that were already jacked took a vial a day, bro. I saw them in a month put 25 pounds of muscle on. I saw it. I went, holy fuck, okay, that's real IGF-1. I've never seen anything like that before. They said, dude, this is the craziest shit I've ever taken in my life. The amount of muscle, the more food they ate, it was way more than an anabolic of anything response that they could ever get. When they, because you've seen like, oh yeah, they get, no, that was real IGF-1.
Now, what's that doing to your blood work?
As in terms of like blood sugars, etc. So I'll be honest with you, that was so long ago. I wasn't so in tune with doing blood works like I am now. I just knew, get you fucking jacked.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not getting any side effects. I'm not passing out.
Yeah.
We knew when we did insulin back in the day, we had to carry Starburst with us.
Yeah, of course.
To not pass
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We didn't even know. We just knew blood sugar's dropping. Okay, eat some Starburst. Yeah. We didn't know the catastrophic effect of everything else it could do, like diabetes and everything else. We didn't care.
How prevalent would you say IGF has to be prevalent in the IFBB?
So the size of the bodybuilder now is due to insulin use.
Okay.
And
I've heard that. Yeah.
It's insulin.
Yeah.
People don't realize this is that insulin is the most anabolic hormone in your body.
Yes.
But it's also it just lowers blood sugar. It stores all nutrients though. It can store protein, glycogen into the cells, but it also stores fat cells. That's the downfall of it, right? Keep your diet clean, other compounds evolve, burn your body fat. It's super anabolic. Maniacs shoot it. It's supposed to be done, if you look on paper, how it should be done in a protocol is post-workout, X amount of units for X amount of carbs, whatever.
Yeah.
My friend, when he was in California, he trained with high-level pros, and he was the guy to the pros. I'm not going to mention any names, but the guy was 330 pounds that he trained with, not my friend. And the guy would shoot 80 units of insulin with every meal. Every meal, 80 units. And he would eat, he'd eat like pounds of meat and rice every meal. He was fucking huge.
Yeah.
80 units, bro. I'm like, yo, you're going to go blind and definitely have diabetes.
You could definitely see the exact point where it was introduced to the sport. Because if you look at physiques in bodybuilding, I'm not going to say it was stagnant, but the progression was relatively slow, say, from Arnold to Lee Haney. Like, yes, Lee Haney had a better physique. Okay, he looked great, no question. But, like, once Dorian hit, and then from Dorian to Ronnie, it was just a completely different level.
Human being.
Yeah, it looked like something
that
got
was
introduced.
The insulin was introduced.
Because it just went within a few years. Like Lee Haney's physique wouldn't have even finished him top 12.
No, he had a clean big bodybuilder look. He was like even a small classic guy.
Yes, that's what he'd be doing now.
100%. He's probably the average size of a classic guy.
Yeah.
Right? He probably wouldn't even win. He wouldn't even beat Chris Bumstead now.
Yeah.
Then those short amount of years, the guy's turned into fucking the abomination.
Happened like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we discussed this too. It's like there's the year that Dorian took second to Lee Haney, and then He came back in the next year and put on like 20 pounds and just never looked back. Just, obviously he kind of ran himself. He injured himself. He just no way he was going to win if he came back. He was just too torn up, torn tricep, torn quad. You can't go on stage looking like that. You can only hide it.
You're talking about Dorian Yates.
Yeah. But like at the end of the day, he was a real quantum leap forward. And if you think about it, people don't really talk about this that much, but Ronnie was too. Because Ronnie took it to an even bigger level. Like 2003, Ronnie Coleman, he looks like a fucking alien, dude.
Alien,
it doesn't even make sense.
Dude, Ronnie Coleman's such a unicorn. So he has the response to the drugs, the weights, when he fed his body. And I always remember when he was like, talking to me like, yo, you want to be bigger, you got to eat more. He goes, bro, I was already eating 12 ounces of chicken when the guy told me I'd eat 16 to 8. It was 18 ounces of chicken, a meal, or 20, or whatever it was. He's like, fuck, bro. What people don't realize, you know what it's like to eat 12 ounces all day, every day? Not 2 times. I'm talking like 5 times. Yeah. That's a lot of times with dry ass chicken and fucking rice. Yeah. And the craziest thing is what people don't notice. He used to put Masterpiece barbecue sauce on his chicken breast. You know how much sugar he used to consume? Dude, he used to fucking do this, but he probably took like 150 grams of sugar in a day in barbecue sauce. If you ever watch a documentary, he's always doing this. You're like, that's real fucking KC Masterpiece barbecue sauce.
Yeah. Anything to make it palatable, plus the calories are also helping him at that point. Yeah.
And then to eat 20 ounces of chicken all day, it was crazy. Before you were saying, like, we were talking about like Sustanon, you weren't a fan of it, never tried it.
I've never used it. So this is why one thing I love about talking to you is like we came up different eras. I was the era right after you. And so my era was the start of like the science nerd that was kind of getting involved in it. And so there's only a few forums back then. T-Nation was a big one. And like they had a lot of the knowledge in retrospect was pretty bad, but there were still some smart guys that were trying to figure shit out. And around that time, there was a real pushback against multi-ester drugs. It was very much like, well, your blood levels aren't stable. Frequency of injections is important with a single ester. You won't have as much side effects, which I guess, somewhat agree with. But whenever I talk to someone from your generation, I'm always surprised at how much reverence they have for Sustanon. Because guys from my generation didn't take it. It was never even like considered. It was like, why would I want that? That's garbage. And it's not garbage.
It wasn't garbage back in the day.
It's not garbage, and it just wasn't on the table for us.
So what it was, why it's such a desired drug back in the day when it was real, and when it was real, who knows what it is today, is due to the fact why it's such a famous mass builder is that it's the esters in it, and it's the 4-ester blend. And what happens is as the weeks fold over each other, the androgenicity of the compound starts to increase. Hence the bloatiness, hence the strength due to the androgens start to go up. Yeah. So it's a 2 short esters, 1 medium chain ester, and a very long one. So drugs are designed to be in and out, like cypionate. Essentially, even when you start to shoot it how it shoots through the weeks, it starts to elevate slightly and they start to fold over each other. The total androgen level by week 6 is a little bit higher than it was at week 2, obviously. Yeah. But you can control it better. Sustanon has a 4-week almost front end to entry.
It has exactly no weight ester in it, right?
That's weeks, bro. So what happens is by week 5, and I tell everybody this, that's when, dude, you fucking get big and strong. And this is what it is, you hold a lot of size. Yeah. It's the size steroid. When real Sustanon hit the market and introduced and we took it, cypionate wasn't even a thought or an anti. We took fucking Sustanon because that made you big as a motherfucker. I don't know what Sustanon is now, so I couldn't tell you. Right, but
Were you taking like Organon?
Yes,
that was the big one that guys were taking.
The Russian
back
ones was still Organon, but made in fucking wherever in Russia. No. Those motherfuckers were the best. Yeah. The best. There was nothing better.
It was also obviously, I think, an advantage to Sustanon. I think when the feds, I got into using gear after the baseball scandal, and there's a period of time where it was actually kind of, maybe I didn't know the right people, where it was like really hard to get. Because the DEA was cracking down and like it was getting ridiculous. And so you stopped seeing a lot of the human grade stuff, the pharma grade stuff kind of making its way over for obvious reasons. I mean, they're probably trying to trace back, where it's fallen off the truck and people were obviously going to get cold feet. I think in retrospect, it would make perfect sense because if you're taking underground shit, like we said before, you don't know where it's going to be dosed. I think that's improved a little bit over the years because nowadays there's like review sites for these companies. Like it's like Yelp for steroids.
The one thing I got to think about, like now you got to be so leery of underground bacteria. Is it real? It looks great. Who gives a fuck what it looks like? It's crazy. years ago when I first started, it wasn't even thought of it didn't exist an underground steroid.
Yeah.
Everything was legit pharmaceutical. Yes, a little bit slightly harder to get. Here in New York, it's an abundance. If you live in the middle of the country, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right? But since we're here in a fucking, very central area and there's a lot of fucking import and export, we give vases from Greece. In other countries, vase, crack open the vase and be like, Amps, Primobolan, Sustanon. But like we said, there was no trend, but like when it was Primo from sharing, it's real fucking Primo. Norma Helidecas from Greece, Dianabol from Russia, or even Pink Thailand, Hexagon, Octagon Dianabols. Yeah. They were real compound drugs and real drugs, and they were always consistent because they're fucking real.
I know you said you spoke to Dave Tate recently. There was a video that he put on Elite FTS. It's got to be 10 years old. And this is when he first started talking about gear use. So you're saying, if you were in New York or California, probably Miami, right? It's in abundance, but Dave's from Ohio, and so it's not in abundance. And he said he used to flip out on people that weren't good at sports or lifting for using gear, because he'd be like, I know Olympic athletes that can't get the shit. Show your fucking patriotism. Stop taking the steroids. You're taking the gear these guys actually need it, and you haven't even been working out for 2 fucking years yet. So there is definitely some truth to that, right? Like, just it wasn't as available,
Definitely isn't as available. I'm sure there was some smart motherfucker though in the middle of Texas or fucking Ohio. He just wasn't there at that point.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like, I'm going to fucking New York to get all the good shit.
Yeah, just take your pickup truck and come back with a crate.
That's the one thing I actually take for granted. When he was telling me that, I'm like, I didn't even think of that. No. I never even came across that fucking having to do something like that.
It's not a thing.
There was actually, I'm lying. There was one period of time when underground started to get introduced here. I didn't know it was underground. I was taking this one company, like I said before, you can make anything look good. I'm taking it, and I like that brand. I kept taking it. All of a sudden, I'm like, yo, this is definitively not the same as it was. Yeah. What happened? So what these people do, right? They fucking cut it in half. They make the money, then disappear, and they start. I learned as time went on. Yeah. But then I'm like, yo, what is going on here? That's when I start to learn about that fucking these motherfuckers are making it. Yeah. And shit. Actually, a little story. So years ago in the 90s, we were getting this shit, right? This is the 90s when we're still getting pharmaceutical. And I always remember my workout partner goes, yo, he didn't even tell me. And I was tired. He goes, yo, I got the fucking golden hook. I'm like, okay, cool. The shit was called Biohazard Labs. It came with a fucking biohazard symbol. And we were like, yes. Dude, but it was everything, bro. And it was cheaper and it was strong. And then check this out. This is the funny part. I'd look at it and I go, yo, what's that shit floating on top? He goes, yeah, there's a little sprinkle on top for a little extra. I'm like, excellent, a little more ester, cool, a little more drug. Meanwhile, with dust in it. And I was like, I'm going to shoot that. Awesome.
Fast forward 2 weeks, I'm trying to drain an abscess with a harpoon out of my shoulder. I mean, but you're right, dude. Heavy metal content's a real thing, dude. If you take that shit for a long time, it can have really bad effects on your brain, man.
I told you, cilantro, you have to implement cilantro on the daily. It removes it. And I told you, a doctor that I started going to, the girl was like, why is these I love these concierge docs. They pull 30 vials of blood. I love them. I'm like, why is he pulling? What are the blood tests for? She goes, what is he testing for all these metals for? And I went, I didn't tell her, like, oh, fuck. I was like, this motherfucker smiles on point. So he knew I, at that point, though, I was still taking compounds. I had fucking high levels of mercury. He's like, you eat a lot of sushi? I'm like, no. He goes, yeah, it's from the juice. He goes, you gotta start taking this, you're gonna get dementia. I was like, okay, that's why I fucking...
Either crap the sushi or the trenbolone. Either way, you're going to be retarded in 10 years.
I don't eat sushi, so it's the juice.
Yeah. Huh. I've never got tested for that. I probably should. Although I haven't taken anything underground.
You really should take some cilantro. Yeah. That's one of the, like, if I'm running low on vitamin, I'm like, oh, I just took these. I look for the green ones. I go, I got to take these. I take the green ones.
All right, I'm in. You sold me.
Other than fish oil and shit, I'm not going to die of a heart attack today, but I need the cilantro because I don't want to be fucking have dementia. Early onset dementia, too.
That's some dark shit. I'm in.
Dude, I know guys like, yo, they were like eating too much sushi consistently. They started forgetting shit. They cut it out and it came back. Their mind. They noticed it from the heavy metals that their mind started to slip. It's important. Oh, dude, I'm going to talk about this. I got to fucking do a Zoom. So there's this 21-year-old kid that fucking Nick Trigili coaches, right? Mm-hmm. And he has this Italian name, bro, and he's fucking huge. And he wears like this Halloween mask, kind of like a dark type of thing. Mm-hmm. And like, yo, 2 years ago, he was 130 pounds. He's the size of Larry Wheels now. Okay. So Greg Doucette's like saying, oh, drug use, how much drug use is that? Yes, maybe because his skin looks a little fucked up. But He's definitively a super responder, right?
Yeah.
Definitively. Now, a super responder, if they take 500 milligrams of Sustanon and their receptors are open and consume an insane amounts of food, and he's probably taking a little insulin in this, they're not abusing really that much drugs. I'm not really sold on the fact that he's taking a tremendous amount of compounds, because when I took one Sustanon back in the day, dude, I gained like 21 pounds in fucking 10 weeks.
Oh man, you're making me wish I could redo my 20s, Vin.
You know what I'm saying? So this kid's 21. Probably started taking shit when he was 19.
Yeah.
2-year run. He put on like 100 pounds. He's probably eating nonstop like Rich Piana's thing. He ate fucking a pound of chicken every hour and a half. He might be doing that. And that's the end result. I'm leaning on his side for that.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there are such a thing as freaks. And you have to account for them. Yeah, no question. Unfortunately, if you're listening to this,
there are
you're not
athletic
a freak.
freaks like Brock Lesnar and so on, like Gable Stevenson. There are guys who produce muscle that would do and build muscle. They're just freaks. And why people can't believe it is because they've tried it and their body does not respond the same. But I've seen it in front of my eyes to people, and I believe it. That's why everyone goes, drugs. It's drugs right away. Yes, there's drugs. But the abuse that you think it is to that parameter, I don't always believe. Yeah. I don't. People don't understand the science of how drugs work. It's fucking, you like use that analogy last time. You have to feed the body. Now, how anabolic it makes their body and the protein synthesis, the percentage might be quadruple or tenfolds of what a normal person is.
Yeah.
Now you put protein in there, soaks it all up.
Yeah.
End result, you get fucking 50 pounds of muscle.
It's the human version of the Belgian blue cow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, literally just.
That's the next episode. Myostatin gene, not there. We'll talk about the myostatin gene.